All right, guys, we got that Kizer Comet back in here. I'm super stoked to check this one out. I did get to check this out in a pass round, but this one here coming directly from Kizer affords me the opportunity to spend some time with it, treat it as my own, and even get a disassembly out of it. Very pumped about that one. This to me is a super interesting model. So again, let's kick it off with some size comparisons. First, we're going to compare it against the Kizer Towser S. This is definitely a more compact, small size knife, and as you can see against the Militol, coming in smaller than that one. We'll do some profile comparisons here in just a moment. All right, we got a couple more size comparisons on the table. We got the Spyderco Para 3 Lightweight and Manix 2 Lightweight out here to help you with the size reference. So this is definitely more a small, compact EDC, going to be great for pouches, companion carry, may even fit in some fifth pockets. All right, let's go ahead and do some profile comparisons real quick. All right, so lining them up, how they go into the pocket, you can see here that you're going to have a little bit more left hanging out, but not as much going down into the pocket. And then just comparing them hilt to hilt, it is the shortest and the most narrow on the table. Let's check out the thickness because we do have the full steel liners with the scales here on top. So it is going to be a little bit thicker, which will help that offset the more slender nature of this. The thickness will just make it feel a little bit more hand filling. Now we have another one here with the Towser S full steel liners and scales, and these two are very comparable. Okay, so you still have that same style thickness that you find on the Towser S. Let's go ahead and weigh it. All right, we got the scale here. Let's check the weight on the Comet, coming in at just over 3 ounces. To me, that's perfectly acceptable for nearly a 3-inch blade. I think that's going to work really well for you. Let's go ahead and kick it down to the garage and check out a little bit of cutting. Okay, guys, we have that Comet down here. I have my own fresh variant, so I'm super excited. Kizer does such a good job, guys, with their 154 cm. If you don't catch it in the sharpening choil like I just did there, it's very slicey. It'll move through this type of paper with a really nice edge from Kizer. Really good, guys. All right, let's run it through a little bit of cardboard. I'm not going to do a ton of cutting with these because I just know Kizer's 154 cm, and I remember the Comet being very slicey for a gents knife. Like, it just rips through this cardboard like it's nobody's business, guys. And what I love about 154 cm, unlike Nitro V and 14C 28N and 9CR and all of those, it's going to hold a really, really good edge for a really long time. Again, long as you don't go in that sharpening coil. And it's going to do a lot of work that you wouldn't think something this size is going to be able to do. And then it's going to come out of the other end with a fantastic edge still. Not going to have any real blemishes on it. Going to cut really nicely here. I mean, that's really impressive. I don't know if I got any adhesive on there, but there's no way Nitro V or 14C are going to come out of there looking like that. All right, so you can see slicey. Definitely got a nice blade stock on there for that. But being that this one is mine, I can incorporate the spine whack test. All right, pass with flying colors. No surprise there. Well, I'm glad to see it. I shouldn't say no surprise. But I do like that I'm able to do that with my own personal knives when it comes via the pass around. I'm grateful to check it out, but I understand that there are limitations on what I can do with that one. So this one here, really grateful to be able to, again, just check out my own version. Very comfortable ergos. It is a 3-finger knife. Again, this is a companion carry that has really good jimping on here. That's super comfortable. I really like that they went with the milled titanium pocket clip on this particular variant. It does go in the pocket a little bit rough, which I'll demonstrate here in a second, but that does equate to very comfortable ergos because that is laying flat and you don't feel that at all. To me, this is going to be opening a package, opening a letter, cutting some string, and maybe occasionally pushing it hard use. Those full steel liners do allow you to do that very comfortably. The denim micarta on here is very nice. I love the touch of the stitching here on the outside. That looks really, really good. Or the look of the stitching, I should say. It's not actual stitching, but what they did is they patterned it to look like stitching, and I think that's a really nice touch. I also like the pivot collar being that red denim micarta. I think that looks really nice on here. Really good lock bar access. Flipper tab drops to the thumb, and then it's just a couple of shakes to get it home. We'll see if that action improves any when we get to the disassembly here in just a moment. It is a flipper only, really good jimping on there, and it sounds very solid when you open and close. So very nice. You do have steel bolsters. I think they're steel. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, steel bolsters. It's definitely connecting on there that have been black washed. I think it adds a nice element there. I do wish on this particular instance that they would have blacked out this hardware. They could have left the pivot shiny because that would match the liners and the blade. But being that you do have this black wash, I think it would have been cool. I don't know how much trouble that would have been to have all of this hardware blacked out, but I just think that the triple look here, the triple look of color would have looked really good. Again, it's very comfortable to disengage. All of the ways that you disengage this feel very nice. It is not a guillotine. It is a shaker. When it gets close to the bottom, though, it does tend to want to drop, and that could be because it is still breaking in. I don't know that I've carried it enough to really break this one in nicely, but I wanted to jump right into it because I really do like it. Now, it is a shorter blade overall, but they did a nice job keeping it fairly thin down low, and it does get thick up top. But I do think that that does help keep the strength, even though the swedge here does make it look like it's thinner. You know, you do have a pretty thick blade stock on here for it being shallow. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not thick, but it's thick for the height of it. So I think this would be really good if you're confined to somewhere where you need to have a shorter blade. And let me just double check the size of the blade because I've mentioned it twice being, yeah, so right at 3 inches. So, you know, you should be safe depending on your local laws. You know, they're claiming it is 3 inches. So I think you'd be good to go there for sure. And it just, you know, it's a nice looking blade. I think they did a phenomenal job going with this red denim micarta, especially on the pivot collar. I think it gives it a lot of pop. Bearings in the pivot. I'm assuming these are Delrin washers, like a lot of the ones that I've seen coming in from Kizer here, which performs really well. 154 cm was done well, plenty of bite, a nice factory edge, again slicey, nice acute tip for any puncture tasks that you may need to do, and just a really beautiful design overall. You do have relief cuts internally that we're going to take a look at here in a minute as well when we do this disassembly. Captive pivot here, no reversible pocket clip, but I think that they were trying to keep this super clean looking so that it could also flex as being a gent carry. I think this is definitely going to fulfill your needs if it's something where you're wearing some khakis or dress pants and you want to throw this on there. It's going to look really good, really clean with that titanium pocket clip. So I like the approach that they're going with this one. So let me go ahead and flip it over real quick and we'll get into the disassembly. All right, we're over here at the disassembly mat now, ready to go. I do recommend the Weehaw bits. I have them linked down below. This is the Anzo Audacious Concept Driver if you're interested in this one. I don't think that I have that one linked in particular. I don't have any affiliate links for that one, and I don't know how often they come in and out of stock, but I do have a link to GP Knives, and that is where you can go over and pick that one up. I think I'm going to need to find a new applicator. That thing just will not stand up anymore, and I don't know what's driving that. T6 for your body. T8 for your hardware. This screw here looks like it fastens down into the bolster. So I am going to go ahead and remove that. So 3 hardware screws, 1 pivot screw to get this disassembled. And I'm pretty sure that this is all threaded into the steel liner lock. So let's go ahead and get started. I also have this linked down there as well. I do like this for my T6s. I think it's hardened to some sort of degree. And, oh, is that? It's not sitting on this magnet, which usually catches stuff really well. I can't imagine that maybe they use titanium for the hardware, but I would be surprised. It has a little bit of stickiness, and I know that there was a viewer that told me that there is a steel that has low magnetic traits to it. Uh-oh. This is not captive. Already 1 point off there to Kizer. Let's see if I can get enough pressure to hold it in place. Okay, I can. What I'm going to do when we take this off, I'm going to try to hold that by the finger and see if I can get that tight enough to not spin freely when we go to reassemble it. All right. Oh, let's see here. Does that take the bolster off? Yeah, it does. Okay, so good thing that we went that route. You definitely needed to because all of that is threaded down into the steel liner. So the last thing that we're going to go ahead and remove here is going to be the T8 pivot. And boy, oh boy, does that have thread locker on it. Good gracious me, oh my. It's starting to come now freely, but this definitely has got some thread locker on it. 1,000,000%. There we go. Yeah. Not that much though. Gosh, that felt, and it's definitely still in the pivot. That felt way stronger than what it looked like it had on there. So able to get that off. Check out that denim micarta pivot collar. Super cool, man. Super cool. Really digging on that. So you have your track here for your stop pin, which is press fit. You definitely have your Delrin washers in here as well. Sizes on it in case anyone is interested in skiffs. And of course, skiffs are not necessary. They are a nice upgrade because of what they're made out of. Sorry, I went too low. So 5 millimeter, and let me check here, 364. So 5 millimeter, 364 on that bearing in case you want to do skiffs. But again, with the Delrin, you know, they're not necessary unless for some reason, like if it gets pinched or something like that, that would be when it would be good to do that. They are going to have more balls, and you know what it should do with those additional balls on the washers. It should just make it for a smoother operation overall. It distributes the weight more evenly. You're going to get more strength in the pivot, and all of that is going to equate to increased performance. I would recommend doing this as soon as you buy the knife. No, though, I wouldn't fidget with it and play with it because you are basically working directly on the liner there. So I'm just going to clean everything up nicely, and we're going to do the same here with the pivot side and around the pivot. Make sure all that is nice and clean. It is captive D-shaped pivot here. Hopefully you got a good angle for that so you can see that this side where it sits is what keeps it from moving around. There we go. It was stuck in there a little bit. All right. So we got to clean the blade, clean the bearings, and then we'll be ready to lube everything up. Pretty clean. Pretty clean so far. Yeah, pretty clean. Now, it does look like the detent ball hole probably needs to be cleaned, so I'm going to grab one of my circuit board cleaning Q-tips that I like, and those are linked down below as well. They should be. Gosh, now I'm questioning myself. But very clean bearings. Nothing coming off of those at all. Super clean. Yeah, nothing coming off at all. And we're going to grab this circuit board cleaning Q-tip. Again, I'm pretty sure I linked all this down below because I get asked so often. And the reason that I like this is because it does have that really fine tip, and that works really nicely, for getting down in here and just making sure. Yeah, so there's a little bit of dirt in there. You can see it on the tip. And then I'll flip it over to the other side. Same thing, clean that out. Yeah, there's a lot coming out there, and it's still looking pretty dark. So let me just go ahead. Let me try and get as much of it off here as I can. Yeah, there's a lot in there, guys. Let me just grab one more. This is just going to help to make sure that the detent ball itself is dropping down in there cleanly. I can tell that it's not super reflective in there, so that is why I focus on this. So yeah, it's coming out cleaner this time. Whoops. Did I break the Q-tip tip? I think I did. That's okay, because it's coming out fairly clean and it's looking cleaner. Okay, so we'll throw those away in a minute. Let's grab our lube of choice. I like Hops Gun Oil. Pick Pick your poison, guys. Totally up to you. What we're going to start out with is we're going to just drop it on the pivot itself. Just a little bit more there. All right, let me set that up there. And then what I do here, I just wipe a coating on directly. And then what I'll do is I'll work in just a little lube here on my fingertip, and that'll keep it from bleeding out onto the micarta pivot collar and unnecessarily causing a patina in that one spot, causing it to look weird, in my opinion. And then with the pivot, oh my gosh, it's sticking to my finger when I try to pull away. With the pivot and the bearings all lubed up, you can now take your blade, drop that down onto the pivot, get that in place. I'm just going to make sure that I don't have, oh shoot, it builds up too fast. There we go. Just a little drop there. And then same thing here. I'm just going to use the leftover lube that is already there just to put a little thin coat on that bearing. And I'm going to tell you, this looks like it's a bit too much. A bit too much on that detent ball hole. So let me try this again. Damn, it's coming out faster than I can drop. All right, let me try this one more time. Hold on, let me try to clear the passage out. Nope. All right, I think that's as good as I'm going to be able to get that. I'm going to try to find a new applicator here soon. She getting on my nerves a little bit. She getting on my nerves a little bit. There we go. There we go. That's probably the solution, right? All right, so we should be good to go. We got all the lube that we want down. Everything's dropping down into place nicely. We're going to go ahead and start it off with the pivot, which was the first thing that we removed. Get my T8. Get my pivot bolt ready. Get this all lined up. Apologies for blocking this part. I just need to get everything started over here. All right, so that feels good. Feels like that's in place right as well. Let's go ahead and drop this down and see if we can get it lined up. There we go. T6. Get this going. And then once I have this here, I'll be able to move it to show you guys what I'm working on. Okay, so the shorter one that doesn't go in the pocket clip is going to be the next body screw. All right, we're going to drop that on, and you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to tighten the other side. So you know what I'm going to need to do? I'm going to need to grab another T6. I'm going to drop it into my finger bit driver here, and I'm just going to set it down on this part here, and then that should keep it from spinning around. There we go. Now I'm going to tighten it really snug on this side, and that should allow me to next time just loosen this without it spinning on the other side. There we go. So this side will be snug without being overly tightened, and tightening that front screw down a little bit more than I normally would. Usually, doesn't always work, usually keeps it from moving too much. All right, now pocket clip, let's go ahead and thread that so that we can insert this and get this installed fairly easily. There we go. I was like, it's not going in easy. There we are. And then there, you can just snug that down. You know, it's a steel on, you know, I think it's steel on steel. So I would think you'd be okay to snug it down as much as you want. So we have no play. Drop and shut a couple times to make sure that it's broken in. Let me clean it up and we'll be right back. All right, so that's your review, re-review, full review, in-depth review of the Comet and your disassembly and maintenance. Let me just check here. Yeah, just cleaning it and lubing it, man, it really improved the action. It feels really glassy smooth. detent actually feels like it's a little bit stronger. I don't know if that's placebo, but I actually skidded off of the jimping, which is really well done. So I think it might be more cleanly dropping into that detent hole. Let me know what you think about the Kizer Comet down in the comments below. If you enjoyed, don't forget, leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you watched to this point, it really does help the algorithm, guys. I appreciate that support, and a special thank you to the channel members. That extra layer of support goes so far with the channel. I hope all of you have a fantastic week, guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.